Hi, you two. Welcome to our Wednesday's writing. For those of you who are at home with the booklet, this is about writing an informative text about the moon. Let's look at our learning intention. We always need to look at our learning intention to help us know what we need to be doing and how to do it properly. We are learning to use a variety of strategies to engage the reader. Remember, you want to engage the reader. You want the reader to really read your work and to engage with it and to get lots of information out of it. Our success criteria is going to help us do that. First of all, let's plan our writing. Remember, good writing needs to be planned. We can't just have higgledy-piggledy ideas everywhere. One of the things that's going to help us is what type of sentences we use. Simple, compound, and even a complex sentence. And we've covered simple and compound sentences in class. You know what they are. Of course, using interesting words and technical language is going to be important. You need to use the correct words and correct technical language, and that makes your writing more interesting, and then the reader will want to go, yep, this person knows what they're talking about. Lastly, when you've completed your writing, and even during your writing, make sure you reread and edit it. Ask yourself, does it make sense? So I'm going to show you my planning and how I went about writing an informative text, and then you can use that later when you're writing your informative text. Yes, it does take you some time. Yes, it does take you some thought, but you'll become a much better writer and people will want to read your work. So firstly, I needed to read, think, and collect my information about the moon. And then I had to plan my ideas. I've used boxes to help me explain it. You don't need to. You can use a mind map if you like, or brainstorm your ideas. Whatever method of planning you like to use, you can use. Secondly, I had to arrange my ideas in a sensible order. Thirdly, I had to put it in my own words. Writing in your own words is very important. Choosing your own language. Say it the way you want to say it, not the way somebody else has said it. And lastly, when you've got all your ideas together and you've written it, you need to write a conclusion to bring it all together. So this is my planning. I needed to read, think, and collect the information. And this is what I came up with. These 4 ideas. My first idea that I found was that the moon has no air. The second one, that it has craters. The third one, that it takes about 28 days to revolve around the Earth. And the last one is that man landed on the moon. I had lots of other ideas and I found out lots of other information, but I chose not to use those. Secondly, I needed to add more information. One sentence isn't good enough. I have to expand on the idea. And these are my ideas. With my first idea, the moon is dry and dusty. There is not enough gravity to hold any air, so astronauts need to take their own air to breathe. With my second idea is that the surface of the moon has many hollows. These are called craters, and they're formed when meteorites hit the surface. My third idea is that the moon spins around the Earth just like the Earth goes around the sun, and that the moon takes 28 days to complete one revolution or one turn around the Earth. And my fourth idea was that astronauts have landed on the moon, and the American astronauts were the first people to land on the moon. And the first person out of all of those was Neil Armstrong on July 21st, 1969. So let's have a look back and think about what my task is. It was to write an informative text about the moon. We also learnt that we had to use a variety of strategies to engage the reader, get the reader interested in my writing. The first part of my success criteria was plan my writing, and yes, I did do that. What do I now need to make sure that I've got? I need to make sure I'm using different types of sentences. I need to make sure I'm using interesting and technical words, and then I need to reread it and read it again, and to make sure that I've edited my writing to make sense. So here we go with my text. Now, I'm going to use different types of font to show you the different paragraphs, and I'm also going to be highlighting different things and pointing them out as we go along. Here is my introductory paragraph. An introductory paragraph introduces us to the topic and sets the idea up. The moon is our nearest neighbour in space. We see it almost every night. Here is what I've learned about the moon. You see, in my second paragraph, I've highlighted the word gravity. That's to show you that I'm using a technical word. The moon is dry and dusty. There is not enough gravity to hold any air. Astronauts need to take their own air tanks on their backs to breathe if they want to go to the moon. And you can see that I've added my extra information as well here. I've explained my idea carefully. Let's look at my third paragraph. In my third paragraph, I've done a couple of things. Firstly, you can see that I've highlighted in yellow some technical words, meteorites and craters. I could have also highlighted the word hollows for you. Next, have a look at my first sentence. You'll notice that I've used a comma just after the word meteorites. So that makes this first sentence a complex sentence. I'll read it for you. Since the moon has no air, any rocks flying through space, called meteorites, can hit the moon. The surface of the moon has many hollows, called craters. These are formed when meteorites hit the surface. Let's look at my second page of information. Remember, I'm writing an informative text. Here, on this page, you can see that I've highlighted some things in green and some things in blue. The things in green are where I have added the extra information. The sentence that I've highlighted in blue shows us a complex sentence. So I'm looking at my success criteria and thinking to myself, I need to use interesting sentences. I'll read the paragraphs for you. You can follow along. The moon spins around the earth just like the earth goes around the sun. The moon takes almost 28 days to make one complete revolution or turn around the earth. If we look up to the sky at night, we can see that over 28 days, the moon changes shape until it becomes a full moon again. People have always dreamt of travelling to the moon, all the way from ancient times before Jesus. My third paragraph on this page. Neil Armstrong, an American astronaut, was the first person to land on the moon on July 21st, 1969, along with Edward Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. So, my conclusion, how to finish my writing. Lastly, I need to summarize my ideas in a conclusion. This is my conclusion. I think the moon has many interesting features. I think I'd like to visit there one day. Who knows, maybe one day in the future, people can live on the moon and travel to other planets. So I've brought all my ideas together and finished it off with my own idea about how I think it would be great and interesting and wonderful to be living on the moon. Let's have a look again at writing an informative text. We know our learning intention. Let's look at the success criteria. Did I plan my writing? Yes. Did I use interesting sentences and different sentences? Yes. Did I use interesting and technical language? Yep. And now I've reread and edited my writing, so I'm finished. So what's next for you? Now it's your turn to write on the page, or that's in the booklet, or on your own paper, or you can even write this on your computer. Use the model that I've shown you where you plan your ideas, you then expand your ideas, and you write them down. And then, of course, reread each paragraph as you have finished it, and then, of course, all at the end, and ask yourself, does it make sense? You might want to read it aloud to a parent or an older brother or sister. You can even read it to yourself in the mirror. Off you go. You can do your writing. Have fun.